especially makes the neural network easier to support. So all these tools can help you ensure on that. And you can deploy and monitor it afterwards with all this. Now, finally, I want to talk about insurance, right? So what I think AI may bring to insurance. I think there's a revolution in insurance. So before the 18th century, everybody pays the same premium. So you just pay one price, you get involved into the pool, and you get insurance protection. From the 18th century, there are actuaries, and there are actual science that helps you to group people into different groups. And these different groups can pay a premium of their own, of their group, so that maybe women have one group, men have one group, and they pay different premiums. But within that group, you always pay the same one. So this is a pooling concept. In the future, what we think machine learning can bring is because we can predict your risk so well, the pricing of your insurance product can be really personalized, meaning that each one of you, because we have your lifestyle data, we know what you eat, we know how much you exercise, we know exactly very accurately how risky you are, and we can give you a price, a personalized price on it. This will bring the insurance to the most fair condition, because you don't have to pay for some others. If you exercise regularly, if you're in good health, you don't have to pay for others who are maybe less careful in their lifestyle, right? So if you're really fit, you can pay a very low price for you because you're in good health condition. This will bring accurate and fundamental fairness to insurance. We also work with regulators, the MAS in our case in Singapore, to define how fairness should be defined for insurance industry, which metrics we should use, and what questions we should ask when we deploy a machine learning model within the insurance company. One of the most important project I work on is what we call predictive underwriting. Underwriting is something when you apply for insurance, we try to decide if you are eligible for that insurance product and how much we should charge you, right? This is just a quick example, right? So we have your hospitalization charges. We convert that into a good risk or a bad risk. Good risk meaning you're healthy, you're good. Bad risk means you're maybe a bit sloppy on your risk. We quickly train a linear model or actually boost model. And then we fire up the what if 2 that I just mentioned. The good thing about what if 2, so on the left is a logistic regression model. You see the colors are not that nicely separated. The color is the risk label of it. And on the right-hand side is actually boost 2, which by the nature of the algorithm, it can actually distinguish the labels pretty well. Now you see that there are like these blue dots. It's supposed to be a bad risk, but the risk score is quite high. So it is likely to be a risk error. So you can click on it and see the details of that data points offered by the tool with the UI. And you can even find which guy is most similar to this guy, but have a different decision. So you can deep dive into what is the difference between these two guys that makes their final decision different. So this kind of things used to be a very hard to explain, very hard to understand black box models into more transparent ones. I use this tool a lot to explain the model to my colleagues who is more from the business, to prove or to persuade them that models are making sensible decisions. And this is very important to push any kind of machine learning projects. There are also different fairness metrics. This is still the what if 2. You can compare, let's say, male and female and see different fairness metrics on them, whether some of them may break the certain metrics. That's it, right? If there's one information you need to remember from this part of the talk is that responsible AI really enables rather than hinders innovation. That actually concludes my presentation today. I also have a quiz. I don't know, Joss, I hand over to you if you want to tell us how we should do the quiz.
Yes, I will do the quiz. Do you have the question?
I have some slides for the quiz, or you want to do it, or I can share the screen.
No, it's okay. You don't have to use your slides. I think we'll just use the chat box.
Cool.
If you don't mind.
Okay. Sure, no problem. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guan, for your outstanding presentation. It's really eye-opening, even for us lecturers. It's
Thank
very
you.
nice introduction to AI and its technology. It's amazing how AI can actually evolve our life and our probably future projects. I personally have never been this interested in AI, but yeah, after your presentation, I think I should do a bit of research about AI. And I think most of the participants right now are also interested in AI research, especially students that currently looking for the final project. I think today Mr. Guan Wang has introduced lots of tools that you can use for your future project. Now, before we begin our question and answer, we'll have a short quiz session. Now, here's how we will do the quiz. I hope Mr. Guan don't have a problem with it. So I will read the question and put it on the chat box for those of you who cannot hear me clearly. Now, if you know the answer, please raise your hand in the Zoom. And our committee, probably Vicky, can you help me on this one, Vicky? Vicky will pick one participant to answer the question. If you answer the question correctly, then we can go to the next question. If not, Vicky will pick the next participant. Vicky, are you still on? Can you help me on this one?
Yes.
Okay, so Vicky will pick the participant, and whoever Vicky chose, you can open your mic and answer and give your answer directly. Now, please remember that there will be a reward for the best answer for probably all. If you have 5 questions, so there will be gift for 5 participants. I don't know what it is, but Mrs. Amalia informed me that it will be a very, very expensive gift.
Oh,
And
please,
so you can ask for the reward after this session directly to Mrs. Amalia. So please prepare yourself and pay attention, and speed matters here. So the first one who raised their hands will be picked by Vicky, and you can, after Vicky pick you, you can straight answer the question. Okay, so let's start for the first question. Which of the following concept is the most general one that covers the others? A, machine learning, B, neural network, C, generative AI, D, artificial intelligence.
Gilberti.
The artificial intelligence.
D, artificial intelligence. Mr. Guan, is it correct? Yes, correct. Congratulations. Our first answer is Gilberti. Thank you, Gilberti. Okay, the next question. Which of the following functions is not a common activation function for neural network? A, sigmoid, B, linear, C, ReLU, D, tand.
Okay, Imanda.
is
Imanda Tamar.
I'm sorry?
Is the tand.
Can you tell what the option? The tanh.
Tand. Yes, the.
Is it correct, Mr. Guan? No, it's not correct. I'm
No.
sorry, Amanda.
Next, Chalil.
Chalil? Chalil? What is your answer?
Chalil. Okay, Chalil not answer. Rafael.
Rafael?
C, ReLU.
Is it correct, Mr. Guan? No, it's still not correct. Next.
Okay, next, Farhan.
B, linear.
Linear is correct. Congratulations, Farhan.
Just quick comment. Remember that the magic of neural network is its nonlinearity, right? So all the A, C, and D, they're nonlinear functions, and that's where the magic really lies in.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, Mr. Guan. So the correct answer for the second question is from Farhan. Congratulations, Farhan. Now the third question. Which of the following is not the advantage of LLM dev compared to traditional dev? A, less need to train a model. B, less need for ML expertise. C, less need for training examples. D, less need for costs. Remember, it's not the advantage of LLM dev compared to traditional dev.
Okay, Nicholas Hansen.
Is it D?
Is it correct, Mr. Guan? D?
Yes, correct.
Congratulations, Nicholas.
This is a tricky question because D depends on the application you want to develop, right? It can be less need for cost, but if you really want to retrain the model, you need a lot of hardware. It can actually cost you a lot. So the answer is D, dog.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guan, for the explanation. Now I'm going to read the fourth question. Which of the following is not part of the Google Cloud's offering? A. ChatGPT, B. Palm API, C. Model Garden, D. Maker Suite.
Okay, Muhammad Alfan.
The answer is A, ChatGPT.
Is it correct, Mr. Guan? Yes,
Correct.
this is a softball question, very easy one.
I told you.
Okay, now this is the last question. If you haven't answered yet, you're going to miss the very expensive gift from Mrs. Amalia, so pay attention. So, according to responsible AI's principle, applications should not pursue A. Incorporating privacy design principles, B. Socially beneficial, C. High standards of scientific excellence, D. Creating or reinforcing unfair bias.
Gabriel.
The answer is D, creating or reinforcing unfair bias.
Is it correct, Mr. Guan?
Yes, another simple one. Yes.
Another simple one. Okay, thank you, Gabriel. Okay, that's all for our quiz today. Thank you for all the participants who answered correctly. Remember, there's a gift. You can ask the gift directly to Mrs. Amalia. It will be a very expensive gift that you wouldn't want to miss. Thank you for your outstanding presentation. Now, we are going to begin our question and answer session. First, let me search. There's one question from the top. Okay, this comes from Nicholas Hansen. Wait, let me copy it so you can read it below. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so Nicholas asks, my name is Nicholas Hansen. I would like to ask a question about neural network. We have seen about machine in teachable machine website can learn about pattern of Sir Guan's hands and figure out is it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I saw that the machine needs samples about the pattern before it can learn and train the pattern to give results. Is there any way that we can do to reduce the samples that we needed by the machine, but in the other way, so the machine can give us answer, but pattern recognition more effective and efficient? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Guan, can you?
Yes, that is a good question, right? Because many times, like I said, you need a large amount of training data set to really train a good enough model. So there are several ways, right? The first one I can think of is what we call active learning, which means that you first just like what I just did, just fit some very simple examples to train a model. Then you figure out which category it actually performs the worst. Like I remember the number 2 is actually performed really bad. Then I just focus on this category. I just feed it more examples of the tooth gesture. So basically, it means that you try to see where the model's weak point is, where it needs more training data, and focus on that, rather than just giving it a lot of other examples where it may already be good at, right? So this is one way. Another way would be that instead of having a simple neural network model, you can try with some established or famous computer vision models. For this example, it may already have a lot of pre-knowledge trained within the neural networks. Then you can start, it's almost like the large language model, right? You can start with simple examples, and it may already be good enough to guess what the result is. So having a very powerful model from the start can be a good choice. But there can also be a risk where the model just doesn't fit at all to your purpose, and you need to switch models, right? So that's the two things I can think of.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guan. I hope that answers the question. Do you have a follow-up question, Hansen, Nicholas Hansen?
Did call my question. Thank you for the answer, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to read the second question from Gabriel Ernesto. I would like to ask a question about LLMs. That we have seen that LLMs train based on a lot of data, but some data is dirty data. How do you determine if the data is not biased?
Yeah, that's a very great question. Because the model is trained on so much data, so large the data set, one way people are doing in the research is really to look into the training data set and try to build some other classification model to check if the training example is toxic or not, biased or not, and try to filter it out before training the model. So that's something, it's an active research area people are doing. But many times you just can't avoid it because many are kind of hidden in the back. So then you train the model, it goes there, it goes in production, and you can actually clearly see some bias if you start to ask questions to the large language model, right? You can ask, what does normally a Black woman do? It may answer you that, some weird jobs that she does. That's kind of a bias. And what those OpenAI or Google is trying to do is try to build around the output of the model with some rules or with some other models, try to detect this kind of toxic information. One example I gave you is that extra API, the toxic API that it can offer you is to classify if the output of the model is toxic or biased or something is wrong with it. Then it will just, block the output to be shown to the end user. One example you see is that I showed 8 pictures of snow in Singapore. One is actually missing, probably because the Google Cloud, they find something inappropriate with it and blocks it from showing to the customer. So those are some mechanisms that can stop you from doing it, from showing harmful or giving biased results to the customers.
Okay, thank you. Brian, do you have any follow-up question?
No, sir. It's
Oh,
enough
yeah.
for me. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Sorry. It's it's Brian. Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. It's Gabriel that asked. The next question is from Brian. I want to ask the context of underwriting and risk assessment. How are AI? I'm sorry. Okay. How are AI algorithms improving the accuracy of insurance premiums or individual customers? What impact does this have on policy costs and personalized pricing? Wow, this is a very technical question.
That's great. I love this question. So first of all, right, the underwriting process, the actuaries, so when you apply for insurance, the underwriters will need to look at your forms. You need to fill in a very long medical form. You may even have to provide with your history medical reports. Then we have a lot of underwriters looking at it. We have actuaries calculating the price for you. That's a lot of cost for the insurance company ourselves. And of course, we need to put that cost onto the end customers. And that is part of the reason why your premium may be high. But the first point is, if you can automate this, if you can have a machine learning algorithm to replace the underwriters and the pricing mechanism, you are saving a lot of cost, and that have a direct impact on the price, on the premium you have to pay for that product. So that's the first. And secondly, besides automation, if with more data, like your lifestyle data, your past medical reports, your electronic health records, we can actually give you a very accurate evaluation of the risk you are, the medical risk you are. We can give you a very personalized premium that you have to pay. If you are really young and healthy and you do exercise regularly, you can actually get a fairly low premium for the product instead of everyone paying the same premium. We think that's more fair, and it will, of course, having less cost on your policy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guan. Are you satisfied with the answer, Brian? Do you have any follow-up question? Okay, if not, then we'll go to the next question. This one is from YouTube. We have participants that also watching live from YouTube. According to Mr. Wang's explanation, I understand how AI could use information from the internet. My question is, in the future, will it possible for generative AI for no longer need the internet to generate?
Right. So one of the shortcomings of ChatGPT before, so if you play around it, is that many times it will show that so from the bot, right? The knowledge is only, the model is only trained on data before September 2021, if I remember correctly. And any of the new information, the new stuff happening after that date will not be available to ChatGPT. That is the big shortcoming of the original version of ChatGPT. And then OpenAI decides to connect their large language model to the internet. And of course, for Google, Bard is always connected to the internet so that they can get most state-of-art information from the internet. So instead of saying that generative AI no longer need the internet, I would say it should have the internet as the information source, because many times the large language model itself, like I said, is behaving like an it's behaving like a brain, it's behaving like a reasoning machine, rather than something that is memorizing everything. So it needs to connect to the internet to get the right information, and then use the reasoning capabilities of it to process it, and then give you the right information. Another good example is what I showed you. I want to see the cargo length, right? Any of the internet stuff cannot give me the correct information from it. But because Bard is connected to the internet, it processes all this information and gives me the right information, the exact right information I need. So instead of saying no longer need the internet, I would say I recommend, or I should strongly feel it should connect to the internet to give you the right information.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I think Agus Selian is on via YouTube. I think if he has a response, our committee from the YouTube will send it here. So we'll go to the next question from Putra Harifin. I would like to ask a question. In the insurance industry, how are neural networks being employed for risk assessment and claim processing, such as predicting fraudulent claims or evaluating policyholder data? What are the challenges in ensuring the reliability of fairness of AI-powered system in insurance, especially in relation to fraud detection and policy underwriting?
That's a great question. Let's say for a claim, right? Many times when you file a claim, you need to submit like a picture of your medical receipt. And normally it will be someone, a medical or a claim assessor, to look at the reports, fill in the numbers into the system, and then to decide if a claim is valid or not. With AI, a very simple example is just OCR, recognize or digitalize the screenshot or the picture of your receipt. It can make the claim processing much faster and more accurate even, so that you can get your claim money instantly in a very short time. That's one example. Fraud as well, because especially for life insurance, I think in markets like India, fraud is a very big problem. The insurance companies are losing a lot of money. And because of fraud, we have to increase the premium for the common people so that the insurance company can cover the loss from the fraud. If you can do fraud detection right, the premiums can be lowered down, because that part of the cost is actually lowered down on the frauds. Fraud detection, usually it needs to be very manual. You have some experts looking at, for example, I take motor as an example. You can find people today, person A is driving the car to hit person B, and next day person B is driving the car to hit person C, and then the next day person D actually owns a car factory that try to fix all the cars, and they sometimes they're actually one criminal group to actually to get the money from the insurance company. So this kind of patterns without data is kind of difficult to actually figure out. But with machine learning, with pattern recognition, with all the data, especially with knowledge graph, with all the graph structure that we know person A is the brother of person B is the, let's say, the husband of person C, and person D is actually uncle of all of them, then you can easily find all this group, all these patterns, and then detect the fraud out of it. So that's how machine learning can help detecting these frauds. What are the challenges of fairness? That's also a very good question, because you don't want to, wrongly say someone is a fraud, but actually they're valid ones, right? So that's where the business process is very important. It's not only a machine learning problem, but also a business process problem. So many times when we detect frauds, right, it's not that we directly take the AI decision that you're a fraud. We still need to send people out to actually confirm that this is a fraud problem. Instead of directly trusting the AI, we need people to confirm that. Yes, that will cost extra time and extra human resource, but it's much, much better than original situation where you don't have AI and people have to go through each and every case to see if you are fraud or not. AI already give you evidence on certain high-risk cases that are likely to be fraud, and then we send people there to confirm that. That makes sure that we're not wrongly, detecting frauds. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Putra. I hope that answered your question. And I think this is the last question for today's event because we have a time limit and we have to keep the schedule. So for the last question for today's lecture is from Ahdan from YouTube. I would like to ask about what are challenge or potential solution for training deep neural networks on small data sets. How can techniques like data augmentation, few short learning, and meta learning be applied to address these challenges?
I think you've partly answered the question, right? All these techniques are the ways that we can help training deep neural networks with small data. But one thing I want to really emphasize is the importance of data quality. Because many times, I think if you read about Andrew Wu, he always saying it's not about big data, it's about good data. If your data is full of noise, if your data is really dirty, even you have a very large volume of data, you can easily make the algorithms think wrongly or predict wrongly, right? So I would suggest to focus on the data quality, make sure the labels are correct, the data are of high quality before you start doing all these techniques like data augmentation. Data augmentation is like what I did, right? It's just a simple gesture of 2, but then I try to rotate, I try to rotate like this. It's all the same gesture, but I try to augment it with more different styles of pictures, and that is data augmentation. That way it will help. But you also saw that if I point like this, it's like the wrong one. So probably if I do it rightly, I should delete pictures like this, but only have pictures like this or this, or even this one is a wrong one, right? So that's the way I'm talking about noise or data quality. You have to think about it and maybe probably delete pictures like this one from your training data set. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers the question from Akdan. And I think that's all for the question and answer session. Actually, I have one more question. Have you watched the recent movie, The Creator? There's a movie in a cinema called The Creator. It's about classic Hollywood AI versus human thing, but it's very, very interesting. The movie is very interesting. I watched the movie and I kept thinking, if this is the future of AI, then we're probably in trouble because the movie depicts how the human actually try to compete with the AI and they kind of lost. So they start attacking the AI community. And it's an action movie, but on the whole movie, because probably my background is computer science, I kept thinking, this is very, very possible. This is probably not like Terminator or something like that, but it's very possible because what we are capable of doing with AI today is very different from what we were capable of doing it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I don't think we are able to make an AI that can create images or arts or music, but now we have AI to create almost everything. And it's a bit scary for me. I suggest that you watch the movie. I don't know if
I will watch the movie for sure. But the general comment is, yes, AI does bring a lot of problems like the fairness, the toxic information and all those. But I still feel that AI is far away from really ruining the human mankind, right? I mean, it's still long way to that stage. But I will watch the movie.
But maybe one more question. What is your opinion about the recent news that probably people are losing jobs because of AI? For example, in the US, there's a writers strike because they argue that AI will replace their job as a movie writer. And probably some artists also complains about Midjourney. What do you think of that?
That's a great question, but I think it happens all the time, right? When the car comes, if you still ride a horse, you probably need to learn the driving skills rather than continue riding the horse, right? So AI, we say AI is electricity, right? It's just a new tool, some new tools, a new technique that will change the nature of a lot of jobs. Even in the insurance industry, like the underwriters, the actuaries, they are trying to adapt to it. They're trying to learn AI. They're trying to see how AI can help them do the job rather than just stick to the old way of underwriting and actuarial science and wait for them to become irrelevant. So I think, yes, people has to adapt to it. All our skill sets need to evolve, but I think it just happens all the time, like electricity, like cars, when they come out, it just changed certain jobs for sure. And AI is just another example.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I think that's the correct.
John, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes, please go ahead, Mrs. Amalia.
Yeah, Guan, I want ask you one question about large language model. Large language model in NLP is have a good accuracy for English, right?
Yes.
So I want to ask you, do you think is it possible the accuracy is also high to low resource language in a very limited data set?
That is a great question, because I've been working on NLP for quite some years, and even for language like Chinese, the huge population speaking Chinese, many of the NLP task results are not in compare with what we have in English, even that we have large corpus of data in Chinese. The problem is that many times the nature of the language is different. Like for Chinese, all the characters stick together. You don't have the blanks between the words. So what we call tokenization is already a very important task compared to English. I don't know about Bahasa or your language, but I think there can be similar problems that the nature of the language is different from English. But then also the volume of the data, right? Of course, English has the largest volume. We don't normally have that large volume of data for specific languages. But still, I see Google already creating great products on translation. Even for Bahasa or for very small language, they create very nice translation or accurate translation results on that. That's something I think might help, that even you just have English corpus, you can translate them into into a specific language and use that as training data. It may create some other problems for sure, but I think it can be a good start to augment the data that we have for languages like Bahasa, I think.
Okay, Guan, thank you.
Okay, Guan,
Thank you.
I know that we've closed the question and answer session, but there's one last question, and it's very interesting from our student. It said that if you're looking for a junior data scientist under your arm, what kind of experience skills do you want?
That's a great question. I was expecting this kind of question because, like I said, I studied physics, right? It was a really difficult time for me to look for jobs in my old days. But if I'm looking for junior data scientist, I am looking for it actually in my current role. I would really be interested to look at your GitHub profile. So if you do have like open source projects you worked on, even you fork some other projects, if you just work on some of your courses that you write code, if you do have a GitHub profile, that it doesn't need necessarily to have a lot of projects or a lot of stars, but at least I know that you can code, right? And you are interested in certain projects. It's very obvious from your GitHub profile. Are you doing more work on the NLP side? Are you just doing Android development, or are you working on some other aspects? It can be easily judged from the GitHub profile. Yes, I do look at resumes, but I would really prefer if you have something, not necessarily just a GitHub profile, if you have a Kaggle profile as well, if you participate in Kaggle competitions, or you just have any other ways to show your portfolio, to show your past project experience, that will be way more persuasive than just the resume of showing what courses you've just taken. That is my advice. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guan, for your answer. Yes, I keep telling my students that, and somehow they just still listen. The first thing that you have to do when you're looking for a job is you have to make sure that you have a GitHub projects in available for the public. Okay, I think that's the last question from Aryan Syahputra. I know this Aryan is very good student, so if you're receiving a application letter from him, please do not hesitate to perform an interview. And for the last, to close our session, we have a appreciation token for you. We have a certificate, and we would like to symbolically present the certificate for you by showing the certificate. I think Vicky can please show us the certificate.
Okay, sorry. Maybe the operator can.
Oh, okay, the operator. Yes, maybe the operator is probably working on the certificate, so we'll wait for a bit. Is there any news from the operator? Okay, maybe I'll just present it later then. So to close our event today, we would like to give our gratitude to Mr. Guan Wang. Thank you for your outstanding keynote. It's very eye-opening for us. And furthermore, I hope that sometimes in the future we could collaborate more. We have lots of projects here that may involve you as part of our team. We have a guest lecturer like today, probably sometimes in the future. But oh yeah, this is the certificate. This is for a symbolic only, as a token of appreciation for your availability to become our keynote speaker today. I present you the certificate as a speaker. Thank you on behalf of the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, Universitas Sumatera Utara. We would like to give our gratitude for you and hope that this collaboration will not end today, but we will have chance to collaborate more in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, before we close our session, please give our warmest virtual applause to Mr. Guan Wang. There's a Zoom reaction for applause. Again, thank you, Mr. Guan, for your presentation. I'm sure that our participant has broadened their knowledge and perspective today, which I hope it will give us a new ideas and inspiration for our future research and education. We wish you nothing but the best for your careers and health. And lastly, I would like to thank to all the participants today. I hope you all the best in your future on your study. So thank you for your participation and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, I think I'm going to close the Zoom meeting, Mr. Guan. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Mr. Guan, would you please share your PPT?
Yes, I will share. Can you give me your email? I will share by email to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give you using the WhatsApp message.
Okay, no problem. Sure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
See you.